Welcome to the Society of Fantasy Fanatics podcast, where two BFFs, KJ Aiello, that is me, and Ailsa Bristow, that's her right there. We deep dive into the lore, romance, theories, and much more from your favorite fantasy reads. And our favorite fantasy reads will become your favorite fantasy reads. Quick reminder before we dive into today's episode that you can find us over on the grams at handle SFF_podcast. It's like, it doesn't really roll off the tongue, but you see what we're trying to say. And as always, if you like today's episode, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll get notifications every time we upload something. And this really helps our channel grow and reach more people. And then we can keep doing what we love. And that is nerding out about all the fantasy stuff.
100%. Please help us keep having nerdy conversations.
Our hobby.
And hopefully you enjoy it too. This isn't just about us.
It's totally about us. It's all about us.
Okay, today we have something a little bit different. We are talking upcoming spring releases. So we are going to share 6 books that we are super excited about, 3 each, and that are going to be released this spring. So roughly in the March to June time period, although KJ might be stretching that time a little bit, and just things that we're really, really excited about. Before we dive into the books, KJ, I want to ask you, do you generally pay a lot of attention to new releases and what's coming up?
I do. So I've been in like the publishing bookish world for quite a few years now. Like I do freelance, right? But I used to write a lot of book reviews for newspapers and magazines, some movie reviews as well. So I've always been, like over the last few years, been looking at publisher catalogs. So they'll have like a spring and fall catalog. So I'm always kind of like snooping on what the catalogs are saying. And I'm also part of the Simon & Schuster influencer program, which is hilarious because like I can't even influence my cat to like wake up. Okay. Like, I'm not an influence. Do you feel influenced?
I mean, you influence me all the time. I don't know if that counts. I don't know if that's what Simon & Schuster is looking for.
Maybe not. What am I influencing you about though, Elsa? Like, I think that might be okay. Yes, that's good. We'll take it. I'm an influencer. So, I mean, yes, I do, but I'm not sure that a lot of people do, except for their favorites. Like, we just got Sarah J. Maas just posted this super cryptic Instagram photograph, and everybody is like, and it was hashtag echo what. So everybody is, picking this apart, analyzing. So people they follow their favorite authors or their favorite series, but they don't generally, I think, watch like what's new coming out and debut authors.
Yeah,
probably not. So we're here to get that to you.
Because I think it's so easy. Definitely, I notice amongst my friends and family, like they're not picking up the publishers' catalogs. They're not like, I mean, maybe they're glancing at the book section of a magazine, or maybe they're like browsing in the bookshop and they see the what's new shelf, but they're not really waiting for it. But yes, that is what we are here to do today, is to give you a heads up on some great books that are coming your way this spring. Okay, so let's jump right into it. KJ, what is your first pick for this spring?
So I feel like I stole this one right from under you, Ailsa, and I'm cool with that because you stole one from me. So I am really excited. This is kind of a summer release, but it's Jennifer L. Armentrout, who happens to be, she's become one of my favorite authors of all time now. I love her writing. I love her storytelling. I think some of the books are a bit stronger than others, but I love her disability and size representation as well. And I don't think she's going to disappoint in this next book, which is Born of Blood and Ash. So it is the 4th novel in the Flesh and Fire series, which follows Seraphina or Sarah and Nyktos, who is the god of... I'm not going to give anything away. Spoiler alert. I really enjoyed the first 2 in this series, and I had a challenge getting through the 3rd book for many reasons. I don't know, maybe we'll do a deep dive later, Ailsa, about the 3rd, maybe. Like there was... But I'm still willing to give it give this one a try because, I mean, from what I know, this is the culmination of Syrah and Nyktos' story, which will carry us forward in time to where we left off with Poppy and Castile in the From Blood and Ash series. There are a lot of books in her world,
this series,
and they're always
there's a lot to catch up on, which is good. There's lots of amazing books to read.
I always get confused about the titles too, because it's always from something and something, and they don't make sense to me. That is from the Blood and Ash series, which was left dangling, and I think it was published like 2 years ago. So we've been waiting a long time to try and like, what are Poppy and Castile doing? Because it really left off on a cliffhanger. At this point, though, we need Syrah and Nyktos to join Poppy and Castile in sort of like the present day in their world to see the whole thing come together. And I have a feeling it's going to be really epic because she does write epic. JLA writes epic. And this is primarily why I want to read the book, because I loved the Poppy and Castile story better than I loved the Syrah and Nyktos story. Although I actually liked Syrah better than I liked Poppy. Anywho, yeah. And I liked Castile better than I liked Nyktos. So like, switch it up.
Imagine if that was the next book where they like just do a problem.
Oh my god, but they're related. Ailsa, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, that's bad. That's bad.
Let's not do that. It's not that kind of a novel. Talk to George R. R. Martin about that. Really. Oh my god, I think I need to take a moment. Okay. So again, like, I love JLA's writing, and her main female characters are really, really strong characters. They know how to kick ass. They know how to get dirty and down in the dirt and wield swords. And I basically inhaled the From Blood and Ash series, which is the Poppy and Castile narrative. So Born of Blood and Ash is going to be released in August, which technically in publishing time is still spring. Don't ask me. But like, when you're JLA or when you're like Sarah J. Maas or one of the big ones, you basically like, you can release a book anytime and people will gobble it up, which is exactly what I'm going to do. You know, like, reader goals, writer goals. There we go.
And also that long time frame means that if you haven't read either of these series yet, you have time between now and August to get all caught up and join us for the excitement in August when this new book comes.
I don't know, should we do it?
I was kind of thinking we should, because there's so many Easter eggs between the two series as well, especially when you read the Sarah and Nyktos story. There's like a lot of like, you see a lot about the Poppy and Castile story differently. So
oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Okay, stay tuned. This is why you need to subscribe, ring the bell, follow us on Instagram, because literally we are just like going by the seat of our pants
Also,
here. We are mood readers.
I was going to say, also tell us if that's something that you want to see. If you are interested in a deep dive into the world of JLA, let us know.
What are you looking forward to?
Okay, this is the book that I stole out from under KJ.
Rude.
So, and probably a lot of people also have this on their list. This is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. It is coming out April 9th. And this is a standalone historical fantasy. Yeah, and again, I know lots of people have this on their list already. I know it's been super hyped, but I can ignore it. This is genuinely one of the books that I'm so excited about. There was a part of me when this got announced that I was like, but the next Ninth House book. I need the next Ninth House book. But this sounds excellent, so I'm willing to forgive Leigh Bardugo for leaving me hanging on Ninth House, because this does sound really good. I'm going to read a little bit of the publisher blurb just for anyone who hasn't heard about this book, to give you an idea of what's coming up. So, in a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Lucia Cortado uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucia to use those gifts to improve the family's social position. And the blurb goes on, but we have in this book political intrigue I'm here for it. The
Mm.
Spanish Inquisition, so here for it. A Jewish
Drama.
heroine, which we have seen some of Leigh Bardugo touching on Jewish heritage and Jewish themes in Ninth House. So excited for that and for more of that. And an embittered immortal, just two words that sound so good
Yes.
together. So I am very excited for this book. It went on my pre-order list pretty much as soon as I heard of it. So it will be dropping into my lap on Tuesday, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
And I am really, really excited for this one. KJ, you said it was on your
that
list
is
too.
good.
So how are you?
It was. Yeah, I haven't pre-ordered it yet because I'm trying to adhere to a book buying ban, but it's not working because I just bought 3 new books on Saturday.
I was like, really? You didn't tell me about
Like,
this, KJ.
I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want anyone to hold me accountable. It was like a suggestion of a book buying ban. But yeah, I think I'm going to end up picking this one up. I don't know. Maybe we should do a review of this one too. Like, leave a comment. Let us know if this is something that you want us to do. Maybe a mini deep dive into. Who
Yeah, maybe we could do
knows?
like a mini review when we. I love how we're
Mm-hmm.
adding more and more
Yeah.
work to our more and more
Oh, yeah.
content.
Yeah. We don't have we don't have full time
No,
obligations like
no.
at all. This is what we need to do. Yes.
Okay, KJ, tell us which book is up next for you.
Okay, so I actually stumbled across this one. This is why I do kind of like I start to go into a deep dive into what is coming up. I do pay attention to this. So I don't actually know this author, R.M. Romaro. They're coming out with a novel, Death's Country, and it sounds fabulous. So I stumbled across this a little while ago on Bookstagram, one of these like lesser known Bookstagrams, which are really good accounts to follow because they'll give you some really juicy, recommendations that you wouldn't normally see. And immediately I was like, well, what is this magic? Please take my money, which is not a hard thing for me to say. So from what I can tell though, Death's Country is a YA magical realism type story that resembles a Eurydice? It resembles a Eurydice and Orpheus tale. That story. So this is what's the blurb that's on the publisher's website because they're gonna wrap it up nicely with a bow, much better than I would. Andreas Santos of Sao Paulo was all swinging fists and firecracker fury, a foot soldier in the war between his parents, until he drowned in the Teti River and made a bargain with death for a new life. A year later, his parents have relocated the family to Miami, but their promises of a fresh start quickly dissolve in the summer heat. Instead of fists, Andreas now uses magic to escape his parents' battles. While wandering Miami Beach, he meets 2 girls, photographer Rini, a blaze of fire, and dancer Leora, a ray of sunshine. The 3 become a polyamorous triad, happy despite how no one understands their relationship. When a car accident leaves Leora in a coma, Andreas and Rini are shattered. So what do you think they're going to do? Well, this is a Eurydice and Orpheus story about going into the land of the dead to collect her soul back to the land of the living. So this concept, like, it sounds amazing. It's queer, it's got polyamory, it's got the underworld, magical realism. Yes, I want this. I don't even know who this author is, but already this book is like shot up on my to read list. All of the millions of other books have just been pushed down on my TBR. Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds
I'm
cool,
so
eh?
curious as well because obviously the Greek myth is a tragedy. So I'm like, is this going to be tragic as well? Is it going to flip the? Well, I mean, it's
Mhm.
obviously already flipped the myth in some ways, but like, I'm so curious to see how this unfolds and what take this author has on that.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting. I hadn't heard of it before either, but it
Yeah.
sounds really good.
So it's coming out soon, May 7th. So we only have a little bit of time left for it to come out. So a lot of excitement there. And like there have been a lot of Greek legends retellings lately. I mean, we see it all over the place. But this one sounds particularly like creative and there's like a cultural impact here as well as a social impact. We have polyamory, we have, queer stories and in YA, which I think is a really great genre to put these stories in because we know what's happening with a lot of
Mm.
queer kids right now. It's not a great world for them out there. So having this representation in stories, yes, take my money, take
Yeah,
all of it.
so
Yeah.
true. And yeah, also just YA being such
Yeah.
a wonderful space for exploring possibility and difference.
Yeah.
Like, if there's anything that YA excels at, it's absolutely that, of being kind of like the vanguard of telling these
Yeah.
stories. So,
Oh, I love that. The
yeah.
vanguard of telling these stories. Okay, I'm stealing that. Okay, so what about you? What's
Okay,
your next one?
next pick. This one is already out, so you can run with your wallets now to get The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang. So this is a debut release that I have got on my Kobo already, but I haven't got around to it yet. But oh my goodness, it checks so many of my boxes. It is just like catnip dangling before me. If I didn't have like a million other books that I want to read right now, I would be reading it. So, this is a queer romantasy that includes past lives and fated lovers. I'm just so sold just on that. Um, so, in the year 4 BCE, an ambitious courtier is called upon to seduce the young emperor, but quickly discovers they are both ruled by blood, sex, and intrigue. In 1740, a lonely innkeeper agrees to help a mysterious visitor procure a rare medicine, only to unleash an otherworldly terror instead. And in present day Los Angeles, a college student meets a beautiful stranger and cannot shake the feeling they've met before. Good.
Oh,
I love this trope of like previous lives entwining and people who are meant
yeah.
to be together, people who are going to find each other. This is like one of my absolute favorite.
Star-crossed
Yes,
lovers.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm also getting from the rest of the blurb and from what I've read a little bit about this author that this might be kind of a quite literary fantasy. I'm getting almost like a David Mitchell, he of Cloud Atlas kind of vibe. That this might be
Hmm.
kind of a very literary fantasy. I'm not 100% sure because obviously it's a debut and I've not read it, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So time will tell on that one. But I'm very, very excited by everything I've heard about it so far, the early reviews I've seen. So yeah, fingers crossed that this one is going
Yeah.
to be a new favorite.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go buy it. So.
That book by
uh, my wallet is taking a hit.
I was gonna
It's
like
the
be really mean
worst.
then and be like, KJ, can I tell you about this thing called the library?
Oh yeah. But I don't want to wait. See, this is the problem is I love my local library, but I don't want to wait 16 weeks. I need it
Yeah.
now. And then, but when you put everything on hold, all of a sudden all your holds are available all at once. And then
Yeah.
you're panicking, right? Like I feel like hold anxiety.
Oh, and yeah, don't tell me about like the Libby, how Libby is personally attacking me for having too many holes.
Keeps reminding you, are you
Yeah,
going to read this? Do
exactly.
you still want this? By the way, here's like a fast track
Oh,
7-day loan that's ready for you
the skip
right
the
now.
line copies.
Oh, so much stress.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand buying the book to avoid the stress of
Yeah.
Libby's holds and skip the lines.
I feel like there's a lot of passive aggression there. Libby, what are you doing?
Let's have your
Okay.
last book, KJ.
Right. So I was trying to wrap my head around all of the Carissa Broadbent series. And there's like a world that she has that she's built. And I haven't read any of them yet. I do have two of them coming, special editions. But I saw this one, Ashes of the Star Cursed King, which is book 2 in the Nightborn duet. And I am one of these people who, if I'm curious about the first book and it's in a duology or even like a series of 7 books, I will buy all of them because I don't know, I'm not a very wise person. So I'm really excited about this, even though I've not read any of the others. But based on the reviews of all of her books, I am already sold. So, The Crowns of Nyaxia is a planned 6-book series, and this I got from her website. So, if anybody wants to correct if I've made a mistake, let me know. These 6-book series are compartmentalized into 3 duologies. And I think one of our last episodes, Elsa, we were talking about duologies being on the rise, and I believe that they are rising. But the main plot will span 6 novels. So I'm not sure how she's going to do that. She has a world, she has a 6-book series compartmentalized into 3 duologies, but apparently they all follow the same
Oh,
plot arc.
interesting.
I'm curious. I know. Like as a writer myself, I need to know how she's
Mhm.
doing this. I need to. Yeah, take notes. So The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King is book 2 in the Nightborn duet and will be released on June 4th. So it is pretty soon. I've heard amazing things about her novels, though, and obviously they're all over Book Talk, Bookstagram. And so I'm getting the special editions from I have a Fairy Loot book box subscription, which I only waited like a year to get off the wait list. What is this? So I managed to wait in line like all day. I was started at like number 7,000 and something in order to be able to get to purchase, to pre-order the first 2 of the special edition duology. So it will be arriving. I don't know when, sometime this summer, but The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King, again, book 2 of the Nightborn duet, Carissa Broadbent, coming out June 4th. So I'm curious.
I've never read any of Carissa Broadbent's books, despite them being, as you say, really popular, kind of ever-present. So I'm curious to see what your take on them is. Yeah. And again, you might influence me, KJ, to pick them up.
I'm an influencer, don't you know?
Also, can I just say that even though I do not have a Fairy Loot subscription and I did not obviously wait in line for this, it's like I did, because let me tell you, KJ put screenshots of the position they had in the queue throughout the day in our group chat. So I lived through that with you. I really feel I was there.
I was stressed. Like, as I moved up the line, like when I first came in at like 7,000 and something, I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't need them this bad. But the longer you wait, like, this is the psychology of it. The longer you wait, the more invested you are in getting this, until by the end of the day, you can't remember what it is you're waiting in line for, but you need it. It's so bad. But I am excited. I am very excited for these series. I have a feeling I'm going to be happy about it. Entertain me. So what is your last one, Ailsa?
Last pick. And this is another one coming out on April 9th, which I don't know if anyone else has noticed. April 9th seems to be like a bumper day for excellent book releases. So very exciting. This is A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. And just going to give you the tagline: queer retelling of The Sulky Wife. Take my money.
Oh my God.
Take my money.
We're going broke.
The Sulky Wife is Scottish folklore. So Selkies are mythical creatures. They're kind of half woman, half seal. They often lure people to their death. But in The Sulky Wife, the traditional myth, the Sulky marries a human man and tries to make her life with him, and it's not the happiest. It's not the happiest. Our main character, Jean, is a midwife who comes across a young woman in labor, and the description from the blurb is drenched to the bone in the bitter cold and able to barely speak a word of English. And she has, even though they're in this rural area, she has no idea who this woman is. So, like, you know, she's a midwife, the only one around for miles, and yet she's never met this woman before. She never knew that this woman was pregnant. Like, who is she? Where's she come from? So obviously there's going to be some connection between Jean and this woman, and then story will happen.
Story unfolds, plot ensues.
What it will be and where Rose Sutherland is going to take this. This is another debut, and also a Canadian author to boot, which we love to see, representation of the Canadians. Yeah. The cover for this book is just sexy AF. Like, it's just like, there's
my God.
You see like a woman's chest and like long red hair, and like it's very steamy looking. So I'm like, maybe this is, I have no idea what the spice level of this book is.
Is it
spicy? I don't know. I haven't been able to figure this out yet, but I was like, the cover is promising a lot on this front. And
look at me like
so yeah, I think this one, I mean, again, a bit of a dark horse given it is a debut, and I don't know that much about it, but from what I've seen so far, I'm pretty excited for this one. I think it could be a really good one to dive into. And
oh God, there's too many good ones. Wow. Okay, so I know that we had a couple of other possibilities. Let's just go down a really short list. We're not going to explain them, but like, I mean, there so many, and it was really hard to choose. So just give us real quick, what are your other possibilities? Title, author.
S.T. Gibson, Evocation, coming out May 28th. A Dark and Drowning Tide, Alison Saft, came out March 5th. And then the last one I'll say is When Among Crows, which is Veronica Roth, who was the author who wrote Divergent. I haven't heard anything of her stuff since Divergent. Maybe she has been publishing, maybe she hasn't, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, interesting.
I've got, so similar to Veronica Roth is Lev Grossman, The Bright Sword. I haven't read anything from Lev Grossman since the Magicians trilogy, which I absolutely loved. So I'm going to try and continue my fandom with that. And Tomi Adeyemi, The Children of Anguish and Anarchy, is the third installment in the Legacy of Orisha trilogy. So it's Tomi Adeyemi.
Yeah, exciting. I'm sure lots of people are also waiting for that one. Yeah.
That was our, I guess, kind of 6 books that we're looking forward to that will take our money. Libby will stress us out. Thank you so much. We want to know what books you are looking forward to this spring, summer, publishing spring. Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want more book-loving content from the two nerdiest fantasy nerds who ever did nerd, subscribe to our channel for in-depth deep dives, video essays, and more shenanigans. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.